This video contains mature content that may not be suitable for a younger audience. Viewer discretion is advised.
Today we talk about the Hellblazer himself, Constantine. Welcome to the Oblivion Bar, a safe haven for all DC comic fans. I'm your host, Khalil Hill, and we are just about to wrap up Pride Month, so we want to talk about another prominent LGBTQ member of the DC universe, John Constantine, in Constantine Hellblazer #1. So, right from the jump, we get your regular Constantine shenanigans. At what moment did the book hook you when you were reading it, Ethan?
I gotta say, I was hooked by the first page, probably the first panel, honestly. Yeah, I'm a big Constantine fan anyways. I've read some of his other stuff, including the book we have above us up there, and I really like him, so I was primed to like this book, but I think opening it up on him covered in blood, naked, in a department store, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, like that. I really like that part, but the part that hooked me was right after that when he's hypnotizing the cashier at the clothing store and you just see him dazzling her with those blue eyes and she's just,
Never mind that I'm naked covered in blood. I'm going to be real honest, it actually hooked me at the end. And that's when I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to read more Constantine stuff. I hadn't read a whole lot about him before. I've only seen him in a few DC movies, things like that. But when I really saw the epitome of his cons and work, his lies and work, how much of a smartass he is, that's when I was like, all right, yes, I like this guy. He's going to be my buddy. I'm going to read more about it.
What about you, Robbie? How do you like it?
So I got hooked right after the intro scene when he's finally walking out into the street and he just has this posse of ghosts and he's getting kind of pissed that they're hanging around, to be honest. Okay. But the fact that he even has a posse of ghosts that hangs around him, I'm like, whoa, like, where's this going? I'm kind of intrigued by this. I did love the blood and the naked scene, I'm not gonna lie. That got to me. But I think I got hooked more so with the ghosts.
Yeah.
Was that a turn on for you? So was that a turn on?
Bloody budget. Alright, speaking of dead people, Joe, tell us what you brought us to drink tonight.
Okay, so because I like crafts, I brought Rogue's Dead Guy Ale. It is a Maibock style. It has very robust flavors, a lot of maltiness. When I drink it, I definitely get malts up front, but it kind of leaves almost a metallic taste in the back of my mouth. So I wouldn't necessarily say this is my favorite beer of all time, but I do enjoy it from time to time.
Yeah, I think it's a solid beer. My most interesting profile that I got out of it, granted, I have an unrefined palate, so bear with me, but it almost had like a hint of strawberry in there. There's definitely a sweetness, I think.
I can get a sweet tanginess to it. I can see that. I wouldn't have picked strawberry, but that's a good point that you bring up.
Yeah, so it's not, I know it's like not a citrusy type fruity flavor, and I think it's a little bit more powerful than like a watermelon-y type flavor, so I think that's why it reminded me of strawberry.
Sounds great to me.
I want to talk about the art on the front. I just don't know what this guy's deal is at all. What is he wearing on his head? Is it a potato? Was he a pope at some point? I don't know. You guys should leave what you think he is in the comments below. Also, I like this beer and you should buy it.
Thank you, Ethan. So, jumping back into the story, what a lot of people don't know is that Constantine is actually bisexual. How do you think that the writer handled his sexuality in this book? Robbie?
Just like to point out, repping the purple for my bi friend Constantine over here.
Yeah.
So I thought it was done very, very well. You get both sides of the coin, and he goes and he's hitting on the super handsome owner of the shop, which he even pops in a little bit, briefly a little bit later, if I recall correctly. And then later you have Blythe, this stunning hot demon lady, come in, and she was a previous thing, I guess, and he talks about how much he enjoys her figure and things like that. I'm like, yeah, I think he hits it pretty spot on. It's playing for both teams. So
I thought it was pretty obvious that he was bi. So if you read Hellblazer #1 and you didn't pick that up, reread that. It's basically saying Constantine is bisexual. It was out there.
Yeah. Might as well be the title.
Yeah, I actually One thing that I really loved about this is that they got James Tynion IV to write it because he himself is a gay man. And I think it gives him a unique perspective when writing a story like this. Because a lot of writers of Constantine's stories don't really include this element of Constantine's identity. And also, this was written in the year 2015, the same year that gay marriage was legalized. And I thought that it was a very timely and well done story because he adds it so casually, but you know, if you read it at that time, that this was a statement, and I really, really appreciated that reading it.
I thought it was good. It wasn't anything like, this is in your face, I'm shoving it in your face, but it was definitely clear, and it was open, and it is a part of who he is, and that's important for us to get the whole picture of who Constantine is.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, this book has many mature elements to it. Do you think that these mature themes are needed when writing a character like Constantine?
So I wouldn't necessarily say needed, but from an artistic point, I would say appreciated. I definitely, it fits him. It fits him well. Is it necessary? Is there a way to do it without? Technically, yes. But again, going back to my previous answer, we want the whole picture. We want to see it all, and the only way to do that is to give it all. And sometimes that is more mature themes.
Yeah, Constantine was born under DC's Vertigo line, which is the line that they created for their more mature readers, for their more mature themes, and I think that, the fact that he started there really speaks to what this story is supposed to be about. It has to involve some of this more mature themes.
I think you do need these to write a character like Constantine. I mean, the man he has sold his soul so many times to different demons and to the devil, and he has the name the Hellblazer because he's making a reputation in hell. You can't be a G-rated person if this is the kind of lifestyle that you're about. And I think that Tynion and the writers and artists really captured that by, making it so mature in that aspect. And I appreciated it because I really enjoy this character, and I like that he has that grit to him and that edginess, and it was awesome for me. What did you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that the grittiness and he's the guy that's getting down and dirty with all the demons. He's going meeting other heathens or whatever you want to say. The people who are, you know what I mean?
That magical underground.
Yeah, that's actually perfect. That's exactly what I was trying to say, is the underground scene. And while I actually don't super agree with the fact that he's one of the only bi characters and he's super promiscuous all the time, because I think that's a horrible stereotype, it fits the John Constantine character perfectly.
Yeah, for sure. And he does get pretty promiscuous, especially with one character, the demon lady herself, Blythe. Do you think that she is a villain or just another poor sap that got conned by Constantine?
She is a literal demon, so you could argue that yes, she got conned by Constantine, but she's a literal demon. She's trying to torture people. I think she has to hold some sort of responsibility.
I don't think that John himself is the most trustworthy person out of everybody. But at the same time, as soon as I saw her, I was like, okay, they have a connection, but she's not trustworthy either.
Yeah.
That was... Would I put her in the villain category? No. But would I put her in an ethical category? Still no.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I want to call her a villain. Just because I feel like, comparatively, there are other baddies out there. Yeah, she does questionably moral things, but like you said, she is a demon. We don't expect them to be moral. And I think this says a lot about Constantine's character, at least in my eyes, because I feel like he has done more questionable things than what she has displayed here in this book. That's why I think she's just another poor sap that got conned. I think her biggest mistake is that she tried to con Constantine, and that was idiotic on her part.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Constantine got it right at the end. It's just oh, I'm pretty sure you're the one who sent him back, so tough luck.
Bye-bye.
Which I thought was great, by the way, but I don't think she could be considered a villain in a classic sense. It's more just she's a demon. It's in her nature to try and progress herself forward, and Constantine was just yeah, I see what you're trying to do, and I'm just gonna stop it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you really get to see how much Constantine screws people over. Not just Blythe, but many people. He has a track record of just being the worst kind of person. Do you think that he should have more remorse for the people that have been hurt by his decisions?
It depends on your ethics. Okay? I mean, he does, in some way, he's like, oh, I feel bad about this. I don't like thinking about this. So, I mean, he kind of shows, I would say, a little remorse, but at the same time, like, it depends on your ethics. If somebody should be one way or the other. And that's not for us to necessarily decide. That's for Constantine to decide. Is this the way that he should live, or should it be a different way?
What do you think, Ethan?
I don't think that Constantine would be able to function if he carried the guilt on his sleeve, or if he wore it on his sleeve. I think he has to push everything he's done down in order to continue with his mission, which is first and foremost what is important. He has to do whatever he's doing to save the world.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, because though he is like a master of the dark arts, he's a warlock, detective, and everything, his greatest tool isn't his magics. His greatest tools in my book are his wit, his lies, his ability to deceive people without questioning his morals. And I think if he's constantly weighed down by what he's done to people, I just don't feel like he'd be able to make those decisions in the moment. So, I mean, I get it. I get why he has to be this way. What are your thoughts, Robbie?
Yeah, I mean, I think those are all great points that everyone's been bringing up. Just the fact that if he did act and feel more remorseful, then he would have a hard time doing the job that needs to be done. And I think you see later on, those feelings of remorse start to come up, and how he'd let all of his friends down in one way or the other. And I think that's definitely part of his character, is to be able to push that aside to get the job done regardless.
Yeah.
So should he feel more remorse? Not if he wants to continue doing what he's doing. But does he feel that remorse from time to time? I think so.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So who would you like to see Constantine go toe-to-toe with, or wit for wit against in this series? Personally, for me, I would like to see him go wit for wit against Batman, because they have so many similarities in the sense that they're detectives. They, do have those grade lines on what is morally right or not. But I would love to see him try to con Batman and see where it goes. I feel like it could backfire, but I want to see him ultimately overcome Batman's intellect and pull a fast one on him in some way.
I think Batman still might have him. Just maybe.
Could Batman prepare for Constantine, I think is the question.
Batman can
Has
prepare
he
for
prepared
anyone.
for Constantine is the question. And has Constantine prepared for Batman?
Ooh, actually, I don't know the answer to that second one, but I would say, just knowing Batman, I would assume yes. But who would you like to see him go up against?
I think I'd like to see Constantine and Superman team up to fight some sort of otherworldly force. Because I feel like the combination of Superman with his very strict moral code and Constantine with whatever the opposite of that is.
Loose code?
I think the two of them together could make a fun odd couple that might end up having to go toe-to-toe to see who's right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I personally think that Martian Manhunter might not be a bad one to see them go toe-to-toe again. And I know that fire is an issue, but there's so many different powers that Martian Manhunter has and so many abilities that Constantine has. I think that it would be a good fight.
Yeah. I like that one a lot, because what if, Constantine's trying to lie to Martian Manhunter, but Martian Manhunter could read his mind. I would like to see how that would shake out as well.
I think it would be cool.
Yeah. Who would you like to see him go toe-to-toe with, Robbie?
Man, I've been really struggling with this question, I'm not gonna lie. It's... I don't really know. I really like the idea of the Superman odd couple, I think.
Yeah.
Just because I think if they did have to team up, you would see them butting heads constantly.
Yeah.
And, like most comics, they find some way to work it out in the end. And I'm curious to see what that might be. I feel like there would be some trickery on Constantine trying to swing the plan his way, and Superman would do the same thing. Yeah. And I think that would probably make for an interesting team up.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, that about wraps up our video for today. If you really want to know what we're talking about, I will include a link to where you can buy this book in the description below. Also, we have an awesome Constantine Funko Pop figure that came out exclusively on Free Comic Book Day. So if you enjoyed that day but missed out on this Funko Pop, there will also be a link where you can buy it in the description below. But if you like this video, show us some love by hitting that little thumbs up. And if you want to keep up with our videos coming, just hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you can be notified when those come out. And you can follow us on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, @Oblivion. Question of the week: which Constantine story arc is your favorite? Make sure you answer that in the comments below. And until next time, we will catch you at the Oblivion Bar.
A large fresh orange juice, please.